Good morning. Let's go. Can we bring these blue lights down, please? Ta-da. Teller of Penn and Teller once said, "Sometimes magic is just someone spending more time on something than anyone else might reasonably expect." Magicians see nothing as impossible. They embrace a challenge with endless hours of practice and sacrifice, working toward a singular moment of mystery. During their payoff, what might be a relatively simple action is perceived as incredibly complex. The tireless work pays off in the form of a transparent experience. The same is true of many art forms, inventions, and people who master their craft. When Seinfeld tells a joke he's perfected for a year, it sounds like a casual observation from today. When you turn the key to your car, thousands of parts come to life in seconds. When a seasoned chef cooks, ingredients and flavors are combined to form a perfect meal. It all takes practice, and it feels impossible at first. During these interactions, you aren't thinking about the countless hours of effort behind it all because you aren't thinking at all. You're having a transparent experience. And today, I want to explore several definitions of magic. 3 weeks after my parents started dating, it's my dad on the left and my mom on the right, my dad asked my mom to marry him inside a Chinese restaurant. They celebrated 40 years together last month, but I'm 36, so they only had a few years before I was tugging on their pant legs, asking them to buy me video games. When I was 8, I had a birthday party at a baseball batting cage. You guys remember those? Some incredible friend convinced their mom or dad to gift me Super Mario Bros. 3, and I lost my mind. I immediately couldn't care less about baseball, and I demanded my parents take me home. I left my own party. Nintendo games were a big part of my childhood. I remember the graphics and the music, the strategy, and the intense competition with my brother Brian. In high school, I wanted to play the drums, or more specifically, I wanted to learn to twirl a drumstick between my fingers. A kid down the street who was older taught me in exchange for hacking his cable box so he could watch the Playboy channel. Eventually, I got a drum set, as you can see here, and I played in a few horrible punk bands. Here's me with Blink-182 before they were a household name. I'm the one on the left with the green hair. Punk music was a great way to feel rebellious about my suburban upbringing, but it was also an ethic that taught me not to settle for the status quo, to question authority, to teach myself to DIY, and that collaboration and companionship are above all the most important priorities of my life. I wanted to try everything, and I wanted to talk to everyone, and I still do. I had a million jobs, selling t-shirts on the boardwalk, scooping ice cream, waiting tables. I was a Subway sandwich artist. These jobs made me more of a people person, and they made me realize it's awesome to be able to communicate with anyone. Art directors, CEOs, kids, people with disabilities, our city's homeless, and strangers alike. In college, I studied a bunch of stuff I didn't connect with, which is what college is for. I almost dropped out, but my girlfriend at the time suggested Photoshop be my major. So while my degree says I majored in digital arts and animation, it should say with a minor in ping pong. My grades did a 180 when I was truly enjoying class, collaborating on video experiments, mixed media projects, staying up all night programming and keyframing and playing with typography. I played in a fake metal band called Serpent Death. I probably should have dated more. I worked here in Richmond primarily as a web designer for 5 years when one day I read something about someone using a laser to engrave their laptop. Intrigued, I found someone with a laser willing to let me put my laptop inside, and that was one of the most magical days of my life. I was mesmerized. I was obsessed. A finely focused beam of light being used to intricately burn a design into almost anything. Here's that laptop. And what happened here was you strip away the anodized aluminum to reveal the raw aluminum underneath, and it's a permanent image on there. So it's not printed, it's actually laser engraved. I went home and I researched, unable to sleep, thinking about all the things I could laser. This technology and its potential as a creative tool felt unlimited. I imagine it's the way a blacksmith feels the first time they see a forge. And I wanted to bring this tool to artists, art directors, designers, and my friends who would have amazing ideas for its potential. So, as many of you know, the cost of living and supportive community here in Richmond make it a great place to take risks. So I bought a laser. I put it in the corner of my office and I stayed up late thinking about what to vaporize. I took on small jobs as I got to know the laser, and the side business quickly grew to become full-time. Big Secret was born. After watching the laser etch and cut, watching the laser etch and cut today is just as exciting and mysterious as it was that first day. I love the variety of materials, the intricacy of engraving, the combination of the digital and the tangible medium, and most of all, the collaboration. We've been lucky enough to work with some big names, Nike, Google, Neil Patrick Harris. Lasers have different wavelengths to work with different materials, and I bought a CO2 laser. CO2 laser has great versatility. I could etch and cut wood, paper, metals, plastics, glass, and fabrics. But those are all traditional materials. We tend to have a lot of fun experimenting with leaves, shoes, grip tape, human bones, and pancakes, as you saw earlier. This is a bat that we did for Nike, and we engraved it from the top to the bottom and all the way around its sloping circumference. This is, as many of you will recognize, the ICA that's coming in next year, and a pop-up card we did for the holidays. So that's all laser-cut paper that's then assembled into a three-dimensional object. This is some laser-etched and laser-cut acrylic that we did for the Martin Agency about 3 or 4 years ago when they were signing Oreo. And this is a leather bag. All those characters on the bag are laser-etched into the leather and then assembled into the bag. This is a collection that's actually coming out next week from a company called Moore & Giles. Moore & Giles is in Lynchburg, Virginia, not too far from here. Not a lot of people know about Moore & Giles, but they have 4 million square feet of leather, more leather than anybody in North America. So this has been a really fun collaboration. I thought I'd show this one because the film stock we used for this award show is 70mm IMAX film. Any guesses where it came from? It was donated from here. We've been collaborating with a company called Theory 11 for years, and they work closely with the world's best magicians, coincidentally. A few months ago, I got a call from Jonathan Boehm, who runs Theory 11, asking us to work on a project for David Copperfield. I started asking questions about the scope of the project and the details, and Jonathan says, I don't know, should I conference David into the call? To which I replied, yes. Yes, please conference David Copperfield into this phone call right now. So he does. David answers and says, hello, Jason. How are you today? And he sounded like he was levitating. And we've been just as lucky to work with the incredible artists and agencies here in Richmond. When I was a teenager listening to punk music, I listened to Ed Trask play drums, who many of you know as a painter. The one and only Ed Trask, who painted our logo 5 feet wide on our new studio. The same exact building where he used to make art and music 20 years ago. I love the connections, the history, and working with people like Ed in the city that we share. Every little decision and occurrence, all the doubt and practice, every stroke of luck and failure along the way makes us who we are. And a musician once said that music is the space between the notes, that the space left between each note is critical to a song. Your brain actually fills in the empty space. Your brain does the same thing, right? When looking at a piece of art, or walking around a city, or watching a dancer, or watching someone perform comedy even. This negative space allows for ideas to breathe, and it gives you room to process what you're experiencing and add your own interpretation. It allows the unexpected to present itself. There's a book about improv comedy called Truth in Comedy, and it explores the idea that improv comedy is about finding honest moments between the players. Isn't it true that we always laugh harder when surrounded by friends making jokes than we ever will at a sitcom? The shared human experience is authentic and spontaneous, and we are constantly improvising with each other. Sitcoms, films, stand-up, sketch comedy, they're all written and edited, edited again and rewritten, rehearsed, rewritten, edited, and then performed. Improv is authentic and spontaneous the way life is. It's a show that's never been seen before and will never be seen again, no matter how good or bad it is. Improv builds honest, shared moments, and when you see a great improv show, you witness magic happening. You witness the whole being other than the sum of the parts. So let's do some improv right now. I need 5 volunteers who've had a lot of coffee. 1, 2, I need at least 2 more. 3, boom, I need a 4th. There you are. Ethan, great. Come on down. So we're going to do a simple form of improv. Yeah, let's give it up for our volunteers. All right. Yeah. Give me a break. They can do the work for a minute. Hey, how's it going?
Hi.
Jason.
Henry. Nice
Henry. Chrissy. Hey, guy. And Delia. Good to meet you. Let's all stand in a line. Give it up for your volunteers again. Yeah.
Stand up and light.
I wanted to do this to show you guys some live magic. I want to do it through improv, and I want to do it through a story, right? We're going to tell together. All 4 of these guys are going to tell you a short story, maybe a quick paragraph. All right? So let's get a suggestion, something other than food. Yell it out. Lust? Lust. Awesome suggestion. What's your name?
Gail.
Gail has the best suggestions in the world. Give it up for Gail. Lust. Lust. Okay, so what we're going to do is simple. We're going to tell a quick story, 1 word at a time. You can only say 1 word, okay? I'm going to start us off. My.
Need.
For Tinder is
Incredible.
how
Sexy.
is
That.
need
For Lamborghinis.
I.
have
No idea.
When.
Lamborghinis
And cars.
Started.
running.
What?
Thank you guys very much. That was awesome. You guys can go back to your seats now. You're released. How cool was that? Those guys, I'm assuming, have never done improv comedy before, so thank you very much for volunteering. Let's talk about the magic that happened. Lamborghinis, lust. Wow. Amazing. Let's talk about this. Magic is perception and delight. Magic is perception literally when performing a trick, right? And figuratively when you gain something from an experience. Magic is delight. It makes you smile and question possibility. It gives you warm, fuzzy feelings in the depths of your belly. When we find a combination of perception and delight, we find magical moments. And the most exciting of these moments become memories. And these memories, they make the impossible possible. The moments make you question what is possible, and they expand your perception. They make you feel something that's likely unexplainable, right? So what's some examples of these? You know, making a new friend laugh, riding your first roller coaster, the first kiss, seeing a laser beam fire into metal for the first time, falling in love. 7 years ago, I saw a friend in a coffee shop, cozied up in an armchair, typing away in her laptop, and I said, "Hey, Bird, you're a writer. You should write something and we should collaborate on it." We ended up hanging out every day for 2 weeks. We swam in her pool, ate tacos, and shared stories. We fell in love. It was genuine and childlike and so comfortable, but I can't explain it with mere words. It's unexplainable, like a well-executed, mind-blowing magic trick. It's honest and rare, and I found my best friend who makes me laugh so hard, who holds my hand, and who will cry with me when we drop our son off at college. This is our engagement portrait. which was shot in Los Angeles, not yesterday for this talk. This was actually shot 5 years ago in Los Angeles by a photographer named Brooke Shaden, who I met on the internet. Falling in love changes your perception so much. Who you are, what you want, what is possible when two people who love each other give themselves to one another. My wife gives me strength, confidence, sympathy, compassion, and she makes me see the world differently. She's optimistic and brave. She gives me confidence and vitality. She told me I'd be okay at doing this today. And being in love with her is certainly delightful. Her transcendent bond to nature and animals, her humor not unlike a carefree teenager, her celebratory dance after a mini golf hole-in-one. Don't we all find magic in our everyday, though? I find it in collaboration, risk-taking, and pushing myself. We have to get uncomfortable. We have to embarrass ourselves, kind of like with improv comedy. We have to learn something new and fail and fail and fail, and then learn from the failing. Be willing to spend more time on it than anyone else, as Teller said. Work hard and sacrifice comfort. You might solve one answer to one part of one problem. But without this seemingly small personal achievement, there's no reward from our risk. There's no light bulb over your head. There's no punk band. There's no lasers. In other words, the hardest things in life are the most beautiful, and this applies heavily to parenting. 2 years ago, before my son was born, my wife and I thought it would be fun to document the magic of our everyday. We shot short videos on our phones so we could show him how we try to make the most of each day. And even though everyday life can feel repetitive, and it is repetitive, each day is special and has a bit of magic. And sometimes that magic is having tacos for lunch. I'm about to mouth something here. You'll probably be able to make it out, but it's labor. Labor. As in, my wife just went into labor.
Hi.
More labor. I'm so sorry, Bird. All right, for those of you familiar with castor oil, that's her drinking castor oil.
You are a big boy. Right, shoot
So
right
big.
there, yeah. Oh wow, 9'4".
9'4".
You're huge.
I'm going to track that nurse down for saying that. There they are together on his birthday. And this is from earlier this week. Clearly, I'm not the real magician. All right, let's get serious for a second. Peanut butter and jelly. Peanut butter is delicious, jelly's cool. What happens when they come together? You guys should do the talk. Peanut butter and jelly, right? I asked my wife, why is it that peanut butter and jelly is something completely different than the two separate ingredients? And she said, because of bread. True. But there's magic here. The magic is the combination of the ingredients, right? The merging of peanut and grape, of salty and sweet, the viscous and the elastic. So let's look at this phenomenon mathematically, right? 1/2 plus 1/2 is less than 1. Not equal to. We often hear the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, but Aristotle, who coined this concept, actually said the whole is other than the sum of the parts. So we're not talking about the principle of addition. The whole has its own independent life. Let's look at some examples. Peanut butter plus jelly is less than a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, two Steves, right? It's less than the company they built together, Apple, right? There's something magical there. You've got crazy and marketing, and then you've got Steve Wozniak, who's pragmatical, logical, programmer, grounded, sensible, but when they come together, it's something more than two of them. There's another one, right? I think we all know how that one ends. I don't think I need to talk about that one. What about music plus film? What happens when we combine a score with picture? Let's try that one more time. I bet you had chills the second time, but not the first time, right? Because our heart races and our pulse quickens, our imaginations start to frolic. It's hard to explain to someone why Back to the Future is magical, or why peanut butter and jelly is delicious, or why the heart wants what it wants. But the whole being other than the sum of the parts certainly plays a big role. And I'm excited to introduce you to Kanika Cook, who's going to make the whole other than the sum right now. Let's put your hands together.
Hi.
Oh, hey everybody. Thanks for the introduction, Jason. I'm Kanika, and what I do is I loop my voice on this loop station and make it into a song, and then I sing over it. So, I hope you enjoy. With the world in the palm of my hand, why do I feel so alone? It's like living in two parallel planes. Either way, I'm still unknown. Maybe I should do a little exploring. A little shy. Maybe I should just hop in my car and go for a ride. Whatever happened to your interaction, the satisfaction of making one another smile and laugh, even love? Why can't we get that back? Be my park in a concrete jungle. Talk with staring back into yours. Oh, can't you feel the
Is this thing back on? Yeah, it is. All right. Wow, right? The whole is other than the sum of the parts. That was one person. I'm not a singer, but I want to go home and buy one of those. How many other people want to go home and buy a looper? And I see a lot of hands. Awesome. Man. That's me. The odds of you winning the Mega Millions jackpot is 1 in 259 million. Raise your hand if you think you're that lucky. I see a few hands. Some scientists say the odds of you being born is roughly 1 in 400 trillion. Your parents meeting, a single sperm reaching an egg before 50 million others, and the human race existing given the timeline of the Earth. So what are the odds of you being born, being here, and sharing this morning with each other? Magic is always around us. It's remembering to see it. That's the hard part. Remember that peanut butter and jelly is magic, collaboration with each other is magic, that life and love are the best magic. Imagine all the once impossible things that you can accomplish with a new friend. It will surprise you, it will take your breath away, like a great magic trick. Thank you.